Hi everyone. Today I will discuss the last part of the chapter, decision making. After the end of this chapter, I will give you another assignment which you have to submit by Monday. But mail me the MCQ part after watching this video and before the session end. So the topic will be covered here: decision tree, constructions of decision tree representation, common term used with decision tree application, advantage of decision making, and disadvantage of decision making. First one, what is a decision tree? A decision tree is a decision support tool that uses a tree-like graph or model of decision and their possible consequences, including the chance, event outcomes, resource cost, and utility. It is one way to display an algorithm that only contains conditional control element. Next, construction of decision tree. A tree can be learned by splitting the source into subset based on attribute value test. The process is repeated on each derived subset in a recursive manner called recursive partitioning. The recursion is completed when the subset at a node all has the same value of the target variable, or when splitting no longer adds value to the prediction. The construction of decision tree classifier does not require any domain knowledge to parameter setting, and therefore is appropriate for exploratory knowledge discovery. Decision tree can handle high dimensional data. In general, decision tree classifier has good accuracy. The next part will be decision tree representation. Decision tree classify instances by shorting them down and tree from the root to some leaf node, which provide the classification of the instance. An instance is classified by starting at the root node of the tree, tasting the attribute specified by this node, then moving down the tree branch corresponding to the value of the attribute as shown in the figure. This process is then repeated for the sub-tree rooted and then the new node. Tree-based learning algorithms are considered to be the one of the best method and mostly used supervised learning method. Tree-based method empower predictive model with high accuracy, stability, and ease of interpretation. Here we have shown an illustrated example. I have designing a decision tree on the basis of a person investment scheme where he should invest and how much. The root node is here the investment scheme. Then there is a three alternative low, high and medium. That here is low, high and medium. In all medium has certain pros and cons. Depending on the situation or certain situation, person will have to decide on which scheme he should go. For example, if you would go to the low or short term planning, then he has the alternative to invest a high amount of asset. Because if the asset is low, then he may face a bad risky situation. The attribute which conclude the tree decision end is called terminated node. Here, good or bad risk is the terminated node. The root node and terminated node are discussed in the next slide. So, here we use some common term used in decision tree. The first one is root node. Root node represent entire population or sample, and this further gets divided into two or more homogeneous set. Next, splitting. It is a process of dividing a node into two or more subnodes. Third one, decision node. When a subnode splits into further subnode, then it is called decision tree. Then leaf or terminal node. Nodes do not split is called leaf or terminal node. Pruning. When we remove subnode of a decision tree, this process is called pruning. You can say opposite process of splitting. Branch or subtree. A subsection of entire tree is called branch or subtree. Then parent and child node. A node which is divided into subnode is called a parent node or subnode, whereas subnodes are the child of parent node. Then the application of decision tree. There is everywhere the decision tree is used. For example, the first one, when the user has an objective, he is trying to achieve maximum profit and optimize cost, he then use decision tree. Next, when there are several courses of action and the person have to choose among them best one, then he may use decision tree. Third, there is a calculative measure of benefit of the various alternatives. That means if the course of alternative course of action has certain pros and cons, and if they are countable in or measurable, then a manager can use decision tree to demonstrate that. Then, if the situations are out of control or it cannot be handled by the manager or the decision maker, he may use decision tree to handle or to overcome the problem. Then, condition of certainty, uncertainty, that is uncertainty concerning which outcomes will actually happen. So, under the condition of uncertainty, decision tree are most effectively used. Then, the advantage of decision making. When there are certain advantage, for example, give more information. Good decision making process acquire enough information before taking any action. In decision making, there is a large number of people involved. It is undertaken by the whole group rather than by a single group. Each person gives his perspective to handle a particular situation. They all represent their facts and figures according to their skill. This generates enough information which can be used for better understanding of the situation. Next, increase people's participation. Decision making in the organization is done by a group of people working in the organization. It is not carried out by a single individual rather than by a group of people. Each people actively participate in decision making of the organization. They are free to present their creative ideas without any boundaries, and none of them is individually criticized by any failure, but the whole group is responsible to handle. Thirdly, provide more alternative. Companies are able to get different alternative for a particular situation through group decision making. There are different people working as a group for proper decision. Each person looks differently to a particular problem. They give their own perspective and ideas for it. This will there are different options available to choose. All the alternatives are properly analyzed in light of handling situation. The best one is chosen to arrive a better result. Then improve the degree of acceptance and commitment. Companies always face the chance of conflict among its staff working in the organization. Through group decision making, each person gets equal right to share his views and ideas. Here, decisions are not imposed on the people, but are created with their participation. It develops a sense of loyalty and belongingness among people towards the business. They easily accept the decision taken and are committed to their roles. Nextly, improves the quality of decision. Decision making help in taking quality decision at the right time. There are different experts engaged by organization in their decision making group. These people having through knowledge and creative thinking. They analyze each and every aspect of every alternative available to them for handling situation. Based among different alternative available is chosen. It enables in quality decision making which helps in easy attainment of object. Next, helping in strengthening the organization. It helps in improving the strength of the organization. Decision making provides a platform to each individual working in an organization to equally represent their idea. Everybody get an equal right to take part in the managing the organization. It develop a sense of cooperation and unity among individuals working there. They all come together and work towards the accomplishment of the company's goal. This increases the overall productivity of the organization and strength its overall structure. So, what are the disadvantage of decision making? Obviously, there are certain drawbacks. The first one is cost. The first and foremost disadvantage of decision making is that it is too expensive to process. Decision making in organization involves different people for taking proper action. Putting different people together in one require large effort. Also, it is too hard to analyze the different perspectives provided by people in a group. It all require large fund to systematically collect information from different people. Next, time consuming. Decisions are of no use if they are not taken timely. Decision making involves a series of steps to be followed to arrive at a particular conclusion. There are different people taking part in the decision making. It takes time and effort to plan, organize, and coordinate different people for meeting and have quality discussion. All these things may prove to be time consuming and may delay in taking proper action. Third one, individual domination. There is another disadvantage of decision making process in an organization. There may be a possibility that all members are not treated equally in a group created for decision making. Few peoples may try to control the whole affairs and may dominate over whole discussion in meeting. People differ in their knowledge and experience in dealing with situation. This enable some people in dominating over whole group and demolishing other people. Next, the last one, ambiguous responsibility. Another disadvantage of decision making is that responsibility is not clear. In the case of individual decision making, responsibility is on a single person. But in case of group decision making, the whole group is involved and responsible is not clear. These reduce the scope of accountability to one person. So that's the decision making process. Here I ending the situation. With this video, I have sent a PDF file. Read it carefully, and if there is any doubt, tell me during this session. Thank you.